Good morning, everyone, and welcome to yet another webinar in the COVID Inspire Hackathon webinar series. My name is Bente Liljaby. I'm going to be your host as usual, and as you see, we have a full panel of speakers with us today. Today is dedicated to atlases. We are going to learn how to make a atlas. Well, at least we get some technical insights to it. Then we are also going to look at three examples actually on what we can map of best practices in this atlas, and all for better management and understanding of the COVID-19 situation. Before we start on the program, we would like to invite you to do a weather report, to say hello, let us know where you're from in the chat, because in the chat is where you can ask questions and comment as we go along in this webinar. We hope that we will be able to do this within a good hour, let's say that. Let's see that if we can manage that. It depends a little bit on your activity. So first we will demonstrate how we can use the chat, or how the weather reports can be done. And you will learn a little bit about the weather in Europe. I don't know how widely spread we are today, but at least you will learn some of it. So with that, I ask my speakers here to introduce themselves. This is also how you will learn more about the speakers. So please, my speakers, when I give you the floor, let us know what the weather is like and a few words about yourself. We can start with you, Petter. Are you ready to give a weather report? Let us know where you are, a little bit about yourself as well.
Yes, my name is Petter Horák. I'm from Wireless Info, which is an organization which works about 20 years in European research projects. I usually work on the development of new systems. Most of them is connected to these geographic information systems, spatial data, and we are working in the agriculture, environment, transport, and other businesses. I will present the atlas of the best practices, which is the technical background of the challenges connected to this hackathon. I am here in my anti-COVID office today, so I'm in a little bit small room, but I think that everything will go okay. So it's from everything.
Yeah. So Petter, you are in a small room without any possibility to do a weather report.
Weather report. Weather is really nice, about 18 degrees, sunny day. It's really nice here.
Ah, sounds like summer. Okay, Pavel, over to you. A few words about yourself and a weather report. Don't forget the weather report.
Hello, Bente. Hello, everyone. My name is Pavel, as Bente just said, and I work on a polyrural project. Polyrural project is represented in this webinar and also in this hackathon series, and my role in this project is helping pilots to carry out their strategic foresight. And later today I will be presenting one of the atlases that we have developed and which to some extent have been used in the project, so I'm very excited about that. And actually reading some of the messages in the chat, I see it's a mixed weather report we have there. Somewhere it's dark in Chile, but actually in my part, Eastern Europe, it's actually very nice and sunny. So I'm really blessed with the weather here in Lithuania, and hopefully it stays that way for at least for a full day.
Sounds lovely. Christina, let's learn about you and the weather.
Good morning. I'm here twice, but it doesn't matter. I'm also from Wireless Info, and I stand for LIVERUR project, which I try to introduce it here, especially its pilot action, where Peter is developing a special tool I will speak about and he will speak about. And the weather, it's really winter time this morning. That's all.
Wintertime, yeah. Okay. The other Christina, Karol Harvat. Don't be fooled by the name. The other Christina. Karol.
Okay, I'm not Christina. I am Karel, but I'm using Christina links. So it is difficult to say where I am working because I'm working everywhere, and what I'm doing anything. Yes. So this is my topic. Generally, I am managing the project, bringing crazy ideas and similar. And Christina asked me to close this presentation today with some few minutes speech on the end. So this is my role.
Yes, we are looking forward to that, Karol, and nice to have you here. Radoslav, last but not least. You're mute, Radoslav.
Sorry, it's too early for me. So my name is Radoslav Delina. I am from Technical University of Košice in Slovakia, and I am focusing my research on how to use data and technologies for bringing some higher social value. So let's say something like social data visionary, and I am expert especially in procurement or digitizing of procurement processes, some data science in multidisciplinary areas. And in this hackathon, I'm trying to support social economy through data and to help visualize some information within working inclusion, especially for disabled. So that's why I'm here, and I'm really enjoying that I am here. I hope that it will be really nice. As our weather here in Košice, it's only about 8% of degrees, but really sunny. So nice. Thank you.
Sounds nice. So we are now moving further up north in Europe. I am situated in Norway, just outside Oslo, northwest of Oslo. And today we have the first mix of rain and snow here. So it's a crappy weather. It's a dark and crappy. That's the report from Norway. Otherwise, everything is fine. I'm an expert on Earth observations. I'm a member of the Plan for All committee and engaged in various projects together with Karol and a part of the GEO community, the group on Earth observation community. But today I'm here to host the webinar, and as you might have understood, we will talk about the technology behind creating these atlases, and we will see different applications and implementations of the use of this, covering, well, we can take it, Radoslav, you're talking more about the social economic perspectives that can be mapped. We have some food perspectives also, how to get food or get an overview of what food, local food, regional specialities, that's the name you are using in this hackathon, in the challenge. And then we will learn more about those applications, implementations throughout. So that's basically the content of this webinar, and you will learn something. So there's something for you to learn here. But mind you that you are also invited to join the hackathon. If you're not already a member of one of the teams here, there are 3 challenges. You will learn about them as well. If you're not a member, you are more than welcome to join. So bear that in mind. You can learn and you can join. Thank you so much, Radana from Klatovi in Czechia, John from Limerick in Ireland, Mikulic, I think. I guess that's also Central European, maybe, or Herzegovina. Yes, you says hello. Very nice to meet you all. Thank you. Do ask questions in the chat and comment in the chat by all means. Yes. Now, Peter, let's learn about the atlas. The floor is yours.
Okay. Let me share the screen.
We will turn off our cameras while we are doing the presentations, and we will have some questions. If you have some questions, we might have very quick answers to it in between, but then we have a Q&A at the very end.
Yeah. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, so in this case, I can start. What is the Atlas? Atlas of best practices was originally developed as a part of enabling project, and this project is focused on information sharing, and we developed this web-based tool to provide information about the best practices. This best practices was focused on the biomass used, and it was on the biomass used without energetical purposes. We try to find some way how to show to people the interesting examples from their countries and from their regions to other partners. And we think that this tool, which we developed, would be very interesting and usable also for other purposes, for example, as a promotion of farms, producers of regional specialities, pilot regions, and other interesting things. So what is components of the best practices atlas? Best practices atlas is a web application which we have in three main components. The one is the administration. This is only for our as developers. The second is editor, which is for the local managers to manage their examples and their practices. And the third one is the user web application. This is the main part. And this user's application content the location of the best practices on the map on the left side, and the cards of the best practices on the right side. So it's easy GIS, like GIS program. You can click on the icon on the left side, and you can get the detail about this best practice or about this example on the right side. We have implemented some slideshow about the pictures. We can implement it videos, links. We can implement it very simple or very simple structure of the data. And you can access to this final application in two ways. You can go directly to the Atlas of the best practices, and you can go through this web practices which are in this project. Or another possibility. If you have the direct link, so you can go direct to each one best practices. So you are able to share this best practice in your social networks, in your reports and other outputs. What are the functionalities? Other functionalities, we have implemented some filtering. So in this example, which is from enabling, you are able to filter by country, by partners. We would like to be able also to also get the possibility to filter with the other possibilities like the biomass source, products, and other parameters. parameters. You can also order your cards by priority, by recent edit best practice, or by name. And this is the really basic information about the best practice atlas. The second part, which is under development still, it's the editor. The editor is standalone web application that gives you access to create, edit individual best practice. So if you will be the local administration or project manager, so you are able through this application to create new best practice for your projects or modify it and delete it and manage all your projects. Without this editor, you have available the structure of the text information. You can add the pictures and you can pictures and videos, and you can also manage the position of point of your best practice. I have here some useful links to the project which we developed, or where you can find the best practice atlas. So the first one is enabling project, and Atlas Best Practices.com. This is the main link. We also have some project for the polyrural. We are developing the regional specialities, and now 3 others, except the regional specialities, also 3 others hackathons challenges. So we will talk about them later with other people. It was a brief review about the atlas, maybe too quick, but I would like to ask you for some ideas, for some things, and if you will have the idea how to implement the atlas for your branch, or how to modify the existing things, we are open to talk about these things. So I can go back also to this technical part in each challenge. So I would like to take over now this to Christina. She can say something about the atlas of regional specialities.
Thank you very much, Petr. And you can unshare your screen, and we will get Christina. As you said, Petr, you can all ask questions in the chat. I have also posted a link there to the list of a. Let me see. Are you sharing now, Christina? Yes, you are. Sorry.
Yes.
A link to a list of the challenges in the COVID Inspire Hackathon, and you find all the number 2, 6, and 12, which we will cover mostly today. And you mentioned also number 8, Petr, I noticed, but you find all of them in the link that I posted in the chat here. Yes, Christina, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So I just briefly will introduce you the project LIVERUR. Peter didn't mention it literally, but there is a pilot action. I'm in Czech pilot action, and we, as a technical partner in Wireless Info, are helping, especially Peter, of course, to our Czech pilot partner from Úhlava. Radana is present here. Hi, Radana. And this project is an example of Circular Economy Horizon 2020 project, especially focusing on rural living clubs as a special method or new business model which stands for RAIN platform definition, which is Regional Circular Living Club Business Model Concept, which means it's a try to help the especially rural, poor rural areas and rural contexts in general, taking into account any regional specialties. So the Atlas of Regional Specialities and its e-commerce platform is a part of this project, and it is developing here. So the content of this platform, you can find there special kind of information such as farmers as food producers, as well as farmers as services providers, for example, in the sense of or in the field of tourism. Information about regions and specialities about that, and different type of or various types of interactions in this or in these regions. The second part is promotion through e-shop or e-commerce platform, which is now in the starting phase, let's say. And the Atlas is consisted also of region-focused information about this special region, which is on the border of Czech Republic and Germany, especially West Bohemia. This e-shop is now in pilot phase, and we are testing it. And the overlap to the business sphere, it's important to recognize, especially now in COVID situation, in COVID quarantine, the possibility how to really help the people here, all of them, especially to the food producers. The information background is created by people from Úhlava, especially Radana and Ivo. The business background is totally managed by a local manager, Mr. Zelený, with cooperation with his local community. And the biggest importance are the synergies which are emerging here. Briefly said, the combination on information side and business side of this pilot action. This is the front page of the e-shop, and we are still thinking about and developing the ideas how to properly connect this e-shop, this platform, with the Atlas itself, how to linkage it to be as useful and maybe as proper as possible. This is the current state, and you can find there not only the products itself, but also some special services provided by this local community, which I mentioned earlier. So you can test it also. And the main challenge to ideas are, and we come back at the end of this presentation to go to some brainstorm slide to provide brainstorming of your ideas on whatever improvement of digital tools for online markets, and to gather various comments, your suggestions, any feedback. We would be really very happy to hear it or to read it from you in the chat. For the further steps in creating and finally, we hope, finishing the Atlas of Regional Specialities. Maybe, let's say the last one. The long-term goals are the best visualizations. So we are thinking about icons for craft issues, accommodation issues, sale from the yard, production, etc., etc. And this could be on the same platform to really introduce the region. When we will be, if we are successful, and the platform is successful too, we would like, and it's another type of long-term goal, to reduplicate it or use it also in other special regions, especially agriculture regions, as the basic business model for that, or alternative maybe business model. And Atlas of Regional Specialities in COVID era. So further steps in development, and again, searching for possible expansion to other regions, and what could be or what we think it could be really helpful in this situation, in this time, to search a proper way in helping real farmers, as I said, which means that e-shops should provide all of stakeholders with support and protection at the same time. It means that they can buy the products or services, now especially products, of course, regularly. The products, especially local products, are accessible for them, and it really corresponds then with different type of people's behavior. I mean, people's as customers. And what is really neat to be responsible in behavior of customers and producers. Maybe I will end up with the Jamboard session. If I can ask you, just simply scan this picture, this QR code, you get easily to the Jamboard session. And there is a option when you open it as a second window to constantly till the end of this webinar to write there any notes or any ideas how to help us with improvement of this platform and with the Atlas itself. So if I can ask you, I will just switch the window now. So just a second, please. I will try to go here. I don't know. Sorry, Bente, maybe I will ask you if you see now my my board with Jamboard session.
Yes, I do.
Okay, super. So here is a board called Jamboard for just brainstorm your ideas to this challenge, or maybe to all of the challenge which will be introduced later after me and after Peter's speech. So whatever you ask us, Peter's, I think he spoke or he will be speaking about the icons which he is developing now. Any suggestions? And then I made a short summary. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Christina. So what you want is to capture the discussion and questions in that Jamboard. That's what you want.
Yes, you can use this or simple chat in the application. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. And you unshare your screen, Christina.
Mm-hmm.
So we can, if you were finished, I think you were.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. If you have questions to Christina, please ask them in the chat. And maybe, Christina, if you have a link to the LIVERUR project, that might be interesting for the audience to also check that out. So you can post that in the chat. In addition to the Jamboard, they can go and explore that page.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, thank you. And I did some chats, some comments. We talk about regional specialties, and as just to specify, that could be basically anything. But very often you are talking about food specialities. I remember when I was younger that we were traveling in France, for instance. Every small little village had their own special dish and their special produce. And I think this is what you try to capture also in the Czech Republic now, right? In your project here, as a sort of a test case, Christina.
Sorry, Bente. Sorry, I was trying to manage the second window. Sorry, can I ask you for your question again?
Maybe I can answer.
Yes.
Yeah, because yes, this is exactly what we would like to present. We would like to support the local farmers, but also the other producers of the local products, like and providers of the local services, tourist services, and this kind of things. So our idea is to support the local producers and and also in two ways. The one is the support of the sale of the products or services, and second is the make information about them, to promote them. So, and this project of the regional specialties, what could be the food and some gifts and some kind of these things. So we would like to join this sales activity with the promoting activity in the one place. So this is the goal of the regional specialty project.
Exactly. Yeah. So the Atlas will help promote, so it will be easier for non-locals to know about it. We know that I also mentioned that you also have like tourism. You mentioned tourism, Christina, and in local areas you have some beautiful places that are only known to the locals, right? It's not like famous for like one of the sites like the Karls Bridge in Prague, for instance. There are some hidden treasures also in the rural areas, mostly known only by the locals, and this is also something you want to try to promote.
Yes, especially our region, there is no Charles Bridge, for example, and there are almost no or nothing special for us. Also, of course, it's a very pressure region, but as Radana said, this area, this special region for which Peter is developing this platform, is sometimes called, or by Radana called, the land of nobody. It's something between the two much more interesting regions. So the initial idea was to create such platform which will really introduce not only food producers or farmers or particular people, but the region itself. So that's also very important to say.
Yeah, right. So not only very specific spots, but actually the whole region can also be promoted. Yes. So that's what we are aiming for here with different perspective. And I think so. Attractiveness, I guess we have been talking about that earlier, and that was you, Powell, you were talking about rural attractiveness. You will not talk about that now, I guess, but you will move on to other challenge and describe this from another perspective. So I give the floor to you, Powell.
Thanks, Bente. So I'll switch off my camera and start sharing the screen now.
Yes, we will also switch off.
Yes, and before I start talking about challenge 6 and what we have planned for it, I would like to set the context a little bit and say a few things about rural areas, because you know that COVID is affecting every sector and industry, and rural areas are especially affected. And there were already some pre-existing conditions that COVID simply made worse. And here's, for example, one statistics from Eurostat, which shows that poverty and social exclusion rates are much higher in rural areas than in cities. And although we see a decline, a narrowing of the gap between rural areas and towns, there's still a gap even today. And this is important to bear this in mind when we think about COVID. Also, another challenge that is often mentioned in relation to rural areas is the population decline. Although we keep hearing stories about people and families who would like to relocate from busy cities and live in a more relaxed countryside setting. Well, it is the case nowadays. But still, if you look at statistics, you will see a lot of nuts. 3 regions reporting population decline, and 4% is what was reported recently by Eurostat. And as younger people leave the countryside, this of course affects professions such as farming. And another famous statistic that is often mentioned is the fact that nowadays we have just about 5 or 6% of farms managed by what we would call young farmers, people younger than 35 years old, and about 1/3 of all farmers are above the age of 65. And of course, this is important as it raises concerns over the transfer of valuable skills as older and more experienced people leave the sector. And another consequence of that, when more and more people leave, especially young ones, is the fact that you have a few opportunities to socialize in rural areas. And this means all sort of things, including mental health problems, because loneliness is one of the consequences of that. But also, when there are fewer social opportunities, it means that it's harder for people to find husbands and wives, for example, in rural areas. So you see how the entire social fabric is affected. And before I move on, I'd like to say that limited services is what is often mentioned in relation to rural areas, and public transport, bad broadband, and bad healthcare is what is often mentioned when people talk about rural areas. Thinking about public transport, we all know that, for example, buses do not run as regularly in rural areas as they do in cities. And often people need to rely on their car to get around, or they need to rely on volunteers. I know some people who live in rural areas, and they provide this voluntary service to older people who are not able to drive a car themselves, and due to limited public transport, they have to rely on someone else's help. So that's one challenge there. Broadband, I don't know what your experience has been with rural broadband, but one of my colleagues, for instance, lives in a rural area, and every time we have a Skype call, it's a bit like a roulette. You never know if we're going to have a good connection or a bad one. And of course, thinking about healthcare, people need to travel longer distances to see a doctor. And in general, there are fewer doctors per head of population in rural areas. So all these challenges are well known, but they are compounded by the COVID. And some of the pressures that COVID has had on rural areas are captured here on this slide. For example, demand shocks. We know that many cities are now, and the metropolitan areas and entire regions are now being closed. And in these regions, restaurants and schools close. And all these demand shocks in consumption are being translated and affecting rural areas, because once a restaurant closes, it affects the supplies from local farmers, for example. Speaking of tourism, it was already mentioned in previous presentation, and tourism is often seen as an alternative to traditional farming to diversify regional economy. And many regions have invested in establishing tourism infrastructure and creating various recreational activities to attract international tourism. But obviously, with borders closed, we can expect a certain fall in the number of tourists, especially international tourists. Organizations like OECD, they expect between 60 and 80% fall in international tourism. So this again will affect rural areas and the livelihoods of people who live there. And last but not least, the logistics bottlenecks. You know, when roads are closed, the road traffic cannot really move or cannot move as smoothly as we would like to, and this of course affects products such as perishable goods that rely on smooth supply chains. And if you open any newspaper or just to visit the news section online, you will see lots of headlines talking about the impacts that COVID is having on rural areas, compounding already an existing difficult situation in many of them. But there are also best practices that are being shared with the world. And in this example that I'm showing you, this food bank charity is buying products and produce from local farmers who were affected by COVID and lost business during this pandemic, because they were supplying fresh produce to schools and restaurants and shops. But now all these entities are closed, so they really are teetering on the brink of collapse. So this food bank charity is doing a great job by buying food from local farmers. Or this is another interesting example of how police forces are helping farmers who are experiencing stress and anxiety in these difficult times. and the community that they're working on experiences high suicide rates, because farmers there, they often live in lonely conditions, and what's worse, they saw an increase in thefts in recent months, and these thefts concern machinery, livestock, and of course, when you're a lone person living in a remote area, and once you face a theft, of course, this compounds your situation and makes you even more prone to commit a suicide. So these police officers are being trained how to go out to the community, to speak to these people, and to support them in these difficult times. And this is what really we want to do in this challenge, in Challenge 6. We would like to collect best practices from Europe and beyond, and see how different rural areas are fighting COVID. And maybe our goal here is not so much to collect practices that were already reported in the media or elsewhere, but to collect practices that are less known or underreported or unreported at all. And once we collect these practices, we will share them through the atlas that Peter presented. And hopefully, in doing so, we're going to raise awareness of rural innovations that will tell people what they can do in their regions to beat COVID. And this is our main objective, essentially, is to beat COVID, to strengthen the resilience in rural areas in these difficult times. And in our challenge 6, we divided the participants into 3 groups. These are consultants, collectors, and testers. And the role of consultants is to provide feedback to the developers, someone like Peter, and tell him what they would like to see implemented in the atlas from a technical point of view. And those who are joining this group, who are joining as consultants, are not expected to do any coding, but if people have some experience with user interface design, that will be helpful, of course. Then collectors is another important group, and as the name suggests, the main objective is to collect case studies from your own region, but also if you are willing to do some desk research and collect case studies from other places, that will be welcome. And besides doing this collection activity, collectors are also expected to provide feedback to developers. And of course, testers, third group that we've developed, their role is to test the application, test it now in its current form, and then test it later when the improvements are implemented, and provide feedback on what they think went well or what they think could be improved in the application. And again, no special coding skills are needed to test the application, just an impartial assessment from a layman's point of view, basically. For the collectors, we have developed a template. So those people who are joining this group, they will have a template to work with. And in this template, there are some fields that need to be filled in. Obviously, the name of the innovation, if there is a name, where the innovation is being implemented, who designed the innovation. Is it a public authority? Is it police? Is it a charity? Maybe it's an individual. So this is what you would need to put there in this field. And who are being targeted? Is it farmers? But perhaps more generally, they're targeting all people who live in rural areas, or those who relocated to a rural area recently. So this information is also very important. The nature innovation, this is where you basically describe what was implemented. Is it buying food from local farmers? Is it providing some training and consultancy services? What is the nature of the innovation? So this is an opportunity to describe the innovation that you would like to see implemented and displayed in the atlas. And if the results of the innovation are known, maybe this can be some quantitative results, let's say 50 farmers or 50 households in a particular rural area benefited from the service. So this sort of things can be mentioned here. And if any evaluations were conducted already, this information can also be presented. And of course, importantly, for this challenge is the question of replicability. Is this innovation replicable? In other words, can other areas, can other regions implement this innovation? This is what we would like you to answer last in this template, because the goal is also to promote the transfer of knowledge between regions, between countries, and maybe even between continents. And here's just a couple of screenshots to show you how case studies can be implemented. Thank you, Petr, for already taking a stab at this. These are just very random, completely made up stories, just to test the application, to see if the geolocation is working, to see how this display card is working. So they are working. So what we really need now is to collect some case studies, hear from the testers about the application itself and what can be improved. Yeah, and move forward. So next steps for our challenge 6. If we have on the call some people that haven't registered but would like to help, please go ahead. We will paste this link in the chat. So go ahead and register, and we'll inform you of next steps. But really, next steps are collecting, testing, and advising the technical team. And if you have any questions now or later meaning in the webinar and also after the webinar, then we'll be more than welcome to answer any questions that you may have. And yeah, this would be all from me. We'll stop sharing now.
Thank you very much, Pavel. Indeed, a very interesting and highly relevant challenge. Just for clarification, so you were using the word innovation, and as I understood you from your earlier in your presentation, it's any type of innovation. It's also services innovation. It's not only a technical innovation.
No.
Yeah,
exactly. It's a broad interpretation of innovation. Yes.
Yes.
Social innovation, if you like.
Exactly. So I see, Mikulic, you have a comment. I think you are about to volunteer to be a part of this community. Sounds like you have an interesting community to be taking part in this from Bosnia-Herzegovina. We can come back to that in the Q&A. I want to go through the program now so that we make sure that we get all the information collectively. I don't see, if you have any specific questions to Pavel, the time is now to ask. I see nothing, so I think we can go on in the program. Radoslav. And you are muted again.
Okay, thank you, and I will share my presentation. I will share my PowerPoint presentation as I did some quick changes.
Yes.
Okay, so okay, this challenge 12, it's focused on a little bit on social economy development. I will explain the motivation behind. I'm now national expert for Ministry of Social Affairs in the field how to use data for better social economy development, how to bring higher social or societal value when using technologies and data. And one of special pilot I am now establishing here near Košice is Social Farm 4.0, so how to use technologies and data not only for productivity improvement, but also how to use the technology for or to reduce motoric barriers or cognitive barriers, how to help them to live really sensible working life for disabled, of course. So that's the motivation behind how to use or how to develop social farm in the context of new technology approach, or how to call it, to bring really higher value to the society. We would like to use technology from agriculture, from precision agriculture in different areas, not only for this working inclusion, how to help to really work in agriculture for these disability persons, but also how to create demand for products for social from social farms or enterprises, how to improve their sustainability and so on. So I wanted to integrate this idea, this mission to this hackathon, and to try think how to utilize this atlas to visualize social enterprises and social farms, how to visualize their value, the social value, or products, or especially in this challenge, we also would like to try focus more on this working inclusion. So how to visualize open jobs or suitable jobs for disabled within this atlas. Coronata, who is already on the board from Italy, is not here, but if anyone will be interested to help, and I see really nice synergies also and overlappings between all challenges. I guess we can share ideas also through challenges and to try to find some synergy. The main objective for this challenge is to support social enterprises, especially social farms, to increase their visibility, supply potential, and awareness on working inclusion. So we would like to focus more on the following target groups, meaning, for example, socially responsible customers or consumers looking for their products with higher social value, to support volunteers to have higher awareness of where some social farm or social enterprise exist, and if they need some help, to help several or disabled person to look for some job opportunity, and especially, of course, some job position which are suitable for their disabilities. And of course, if such information will be visualized and processed in the right manner, probably we will be able to provide some services also for policymakers, some base for policy modeling or something like that, how to use this information to their work and for making better policies. So we would like in the first pilot focus on following basic data structure. On this basis, we would like to have basic information on location and contact, some description about mission, about objective of the social enterprise or social farm, and some more information about the activities, the business activities, the production, or some information for this demand creation. So if there is some interesting production which can be interesting to customers, or for example, commercial or public procurers, because I see also the potential that it can be then integrated also with procurement system, and that's why we would like also to to set up some sustainable business model. And then, of course, this information for volunteers. So it will be in text format, in some description, probably also, as you saw already in other challenges, some pictures, probably with videos. And then the information about jobs, meaning that what kind of job requirements are there in the social enterprise, what type of disabilities are suitable for this job position, what is the current situation, how many people are already working in the social enterprise or social farm, what open positions are on place. So somehow to visualize this information for these potential disabled workers. So we would like to focus more, as we already discussed with Coronata, and she would like to focus more on this working inclusion. So I put especially this information here, but of course we are open to also other potential ideas how to improve this demand or this how to increase the demand for social products. But I see that it's a really nice synergy and developing this is the challenge for regional specialties. We can work on some trust mark or social trust, something like that. And when we were thinking about open issue, what we have to improve in this atlas, probably we would need to focus on some standardization activities, how to standardize the attributes and values for filtering purposes. For example, how to filter or visualize only enterprise or social enterprises with open positions, or visualize only or filter only information where some special disabilities are accepted or something like that. So there's open issues. The information about social or this motivation, as you see, it's not on very beginning stage because some activities are already in the place in the world. We would like really to help through this information to map this disabled community with some productivity potential opportunities or working opportunities, but with really sustainable approach. That's why we have to talk also about demand creation. And it's really a real case. For example, here in Slovakia, we are developing. I hope next year it will be established and already producing some products. We are starting with bees, for example, beekeeping products, for example. So thanks. I'm really thankful to Peter who already designed some basic information in this application. On the first stage, we will provide the basic information about from this data structure I already explained, and we would like to encourage attendance or this hackathonist to improve better visualization or design of all mentioned or more information, as I already mentioned, to suggest better information, better quality of data, better visualization, or processing or using this data potential. For example, if some or several social enterprises will be there with high quality information, probably some aggregated visualization of regional indicators or something like that could be there. So such information could be nice for policymakers or something like that. So it would be also nice to think about how to integrate this information in third-party systems. For example, in GPS, if you are on the road and you are really near to some social farm with some special event, harvesting days or something like that, you can see it, you can stop it and help or something in that way, or to integrate this Google Map or procurement systems and so on, or job portals, etc., etc. So also to think about this issue. The next also it will be really helpful if these attendants or hackathonists could help also with enriching the content, enriching or bringing some information about different social enterprises or social farms in their region to build the basic data content in the atlas. And of course, if they will bring also some ideas, creativity ideas, how to improve dissemination exploitation, it will be very helpful. So that's the basic information about this challenge, and I hope that we also can find nice synergies and overlapping between challenges and work on really synergical added value. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Radoslav. And I think you are absolutely right. There's a lot of synergies to be harvesting here, I think, in these challenges. I want to have a look at the chat. I did notice that you had a suggestion earlier, Radoslav, in the chat. You can, since you are inside the room, I will give the floor to you to describe. You are suggesting some positioning data included in the atlas, I believe, GPS services, etc. Can you expand on that for us?
Yeah, it was some information or idea when I heard. I am also working on this short supply chain. So we were also thinking about how to improve logistics. For example, how to use or develop something like Agri-Uber. Yeah, so if someone is on the road and is able to bring the product to me, so we can have some shared application where my demand for some product from this village to this city will be visible for all drivers on the road, and I will be able to pay him €1, for example, to pick the product and to bring me. Probably he is my neighbor or something like that. So how to improve then these logistics for that short supply chain, so in some smaller region. The application ideas, I guess, they are already on the market. So only to use, only to modify it a little bit for this purpose. So that's why for these regional specialties, the idea was to integrate this information also in other GPS geospatial services. I am using TomTom, but also Waze when I am driving my car. So if I will be able to see that near me some interesting farm has really special regional specialties with some rating or something like that, it could be useful information.
Yeah, and even these things have a GPS, so we can use that as well. So, and I believe, I don't know what the situation is in your countries, but in Norway there are, on the rural side, which we have most of in Norway, we have a lot of space where there's nothing in this country, and of course then having a street address, is, you don't have that necessarily everywhere. That's where a GPS, having a precise location would actually be very useful. And this could be relevant for, I believe, all of your different aspects of, different factors that you want to have put in the atlas. Having a GPS and the location, as precise as possible, a location in rural areas might be a highly relevant information to include in the atlas. Okay, I don't see any more questions. I see that Christina added the address to the Jamboard. Thank you for that, Christina. Yes, and Mikulic, I think thank you so much for your email. It sounds like you might have one of the local communities that would be welcome here by this group. So by all means, sign up for the one of the challenges or several of them. You can join all of them, I believe. And for you mentors here, please pick up the email address on your side and start to communicate with Mikulic. Yes. My takeaway from your presentations is that you really, all of you, need some input from local communities, and communities that maybe are hard to reach because they are not like we, comfortable and frequently using the internet to communicate. So I believe that might be one of the common challenges that you could perhaps address. I don't know if you have made any thoughts on this particular issue, or is anybody care to comment on that?
Maybe that I will add something, and it will be also a reaction on Radoslav requirements. Yes, I have already 20 years dream to build system which will combine two advantages. Yes, one advantage is to have local community and to make information available from local community, because this is only way how this information could be precise, how you can have exact information. But what is disadvantage? The disadvantage is that if we have 1,000 and 10,000 different web pages, for normal user is very difficult to discover this data. As there could be some nice page, the local people can know this page, but for tourists it is difficult to recognize these things. And there are second things, global systems, which cover everything, but it's much more difficult to find their real precise information. And I already start to thinking of preparing first idea around 2000, but we done a little in last year, but I think that now is the good time to be able to do this. We have such technologies like link open data, and one from the goal for the future is to be able, for example, for every this best practice, generate some link point which will be possible to share with any other system, or which will be possible to reuse in different contact as open data, and which will be connected with our solution in this atlas. Yes? So this is one possibility. Second possibility, of course, we have such domination on the market in the searching for information like Google. And what is important to thinking, how make information in Atlas searchable by Google. Yes, so again there are such technologies like ReachCard and other which can help us to make our information accessible for or discoverable for Google. What is already important, what Peter done in his application, is that every object has a permanent URI. Yes, this is the first step to be possible share information, because if you don't have in the database permanent URI, you are not able to use this information in other systems. So we have here first step, and I think that this is one from the things related to our challenges, is to move the system in this direction. I don't know if we will succeed to do this during the period or after, but we have now clear vision that we need to start to look on this technology and support this technology to make this information better accessible. Then probably will be possible to integrate this with Waze, with Google or other systems, or it will be possible to use in other systems, because interoperability is one from the key issue. Bente, you know that I am very active in Open Geospatial Consortium, because I see interoperability not only for this problem but for anything in rural regions, in agriculture, as a key issue. And without interoperability, there is no chance for small players to access global markets. So this is important from the technological point of view. I will have later some comments, non-technical, but maybe if there is some other topic about this, I can give the floor, and then I will go with some other statement.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Carol. Any comments from my speakers here? You want to add both on what has been said in the chat and what Carol just summarized on interoperability? No, you covered it all, Carol. I think indeed there's one thing is to make it interoperable, as you said, but I see a similarity on the other side with indigenous people, because they also possess a lot of information that is not easily accessible otherwise, other than they sharing it. But then you have the issue of, it's more an ethical issue. Do people feel comfortable? Will there be an exploitation of the information they sit on versus the advantages of sharing the data and perhaps get more visitors, or having better services, helping disabled people to find jobs and the others to, find workers that they need, etc. I mean, there are some similarities. Do you recognize this, Carol? Maybe you have been involved in this in one of the African, when we had the Nairobi and the Kampala Inspire hackathons.
Yes, it's also the question, and what I have some information, maybe that Peter can tell better, that one challenge from Africa is now also thinking to use Atlas. Peter, if you can tell something about this.
Yes, this is challenge 8. I mentioned it in my links, and the situation is similar to other challenges. We try to find with the people which are connected to this challenge, we try to find some ideas about how to use the Atlas for presentation of the things which is important for them. So in this challenge, we were talking about grain storages. The leader of this challenge is Tula, and we discussed with the people in Africa how the grain could be stored in the African conditions, and the idea is that we will collect some examples of the food storage, and we will present them on the Atlas project. So this is about this challenge.
Okay, yet another area that can use the same foundation, the Atlas technology, or the Atlas that you are developing. Yes, I think, I see we have spent 1 hour and 15 minutes. I think we will, if there's no more questions, I don't see any more. So I think I will give the floor to you, Karel, with your concluding words.
Okay. I would like to mention that I like very much these 3 cases, or could be 4 now, yes, also with African people. And why? Because this is exactly what about is Inspire Hackathon. Not this COVID-19, but generally Inspire Hackathon. You better remember that when we start with first and second hackathons, we discussed that the biggest problem of European project is that after end of the project, usually the results disappear. Yes, the results are used inside of the project. The project is finishing, could be half year, 1 year, something is running, and then it disappears. And when we started with this Inspire Hackathon, and also with Plan for All, the goal was to support transferability of the result from one project to other, or to the practice, and connected the people. And here it is a very nice example. Yes? Enabling project is now finishing. There is some result which was developed inside of this project, and during this hackathon we showed that this project could be relatively easy, transferable into more cases with some similarities, some different topics, and that there is potential for this solution to be used future in the project, but also what we are discussing in Yaroslav, that it could be also business case to support some public services in Slovakia, and I am sure that it could help also to other. Yes, I like also the connection of Atlas with this e-shop which is running now under the LIVERUR in Uhlava, and again this can help connection of two different systems, if we will be able to find the best way how interlink this information into this two system can help to the people increase visibility of the product, and also support the farmers. So I think that this is something what is really in the nature of Inspire Hackathons. So this is my comments, and I will again repeat my statement. Inspire Hackathon is not event, it is process.
Yes, I had a feeling you would say something along those lines, Karel. Otherwise, I would have said it. Because it struck me that this is all of these challenges here are, it's mentioned several projects, so funded Horizon 2020 projects and so on. And what we see in this Inspire Hackathon, in this case, it's the COVID-19 Inspire Hackathon. You see that you can share it across different projects, and you can also safeguard it and bring it into a more sustainable, how should I say, further development and legacy. So absolutely, this is a very good example of the Inspire Hackathon concept and what we can do with it. And what I also found interesting in this particular webinar, in this context now, is that you can also develop this into a business. And discussing that, so Radoslav, you were hinting or describing that possibility. And on the 26th of October, we will have, as a big Prague, talk a little bit more about business models. So that will also be part of the training, you could say, because again, Karol, the Inspire Hackathon is, like you said, it's not an event, it's a process that includes also capacity building and training. So there's, a lot of ways that we can support and continue to contribute with information and knowledge across all these communities that we are creating. Yes. Any concluding words now? I think we're done.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. Thank you so much, every one of you. You have seen that there are links to the material. You know that you can go through one of these links to sign up for the challenge if you're not already there. You will have meetings soon. You will have Skype meetings, or what's your plan? A quick word on that, by the way. Challenge number 2. What's your plans?
Peter.
Okay, I was waiting for Christina. Okay, in every challenge from the technical part, in every challenge, we would like to start the discussion about the improvement of the atlas, of each project in this atlas. So we would like to collect some examples, some practices. And we would like to discuss what will be good to improve, like the visualization of the data, the functionality like searching, which filters we should implement, and how we could share this outputs for the people. So the plan is to start the discussion, to start collect the ideas and hints for us, and prepare the better examples or better project. What you can see, we have now only a few points, a few examples in each challenge. So we would like to improve this.
Yes. So, but I was even more practical when I asked, because when I'm talking more meeting points, when can people meet, or how can they actually engage with you? Do you have a meeting? Do you have Skype meetings? Do you send out emails? How will people actually be able to connect with you?
The organization points are more to Christina, but I expect that we will just now, with people which are connected for the regional specialties, we will during the 1 week have some Skype call, and we will discuss this point which I mentioned about the technical parts.
Yes, so there will be, within a week or so, there will be a Skype call, so make sure you sign up. And challenge number 6.
Yes, so I will send a template that I mentioned in my presentation. We have people who sign up to different groups. Some want to be testers, others want to be collectors, and we have a template for the collectors. So hopefully already this week we will start collecting best practices from European regions. So this will be the first step, an email from me to the collectors team.
Okay, excellent. And number 12.
Okay, thank you. I guess it's the similar also in my challenge. We are already in contact, or we have the Skype channel with Coronata, where we already discussed something, and next days we will formalize the propositions how to improve in 2 ways. One, so something like a set of ideas which will be able to be realized in this period, and then some more strategic, I guess, ideas behind this hackathon. So now we have opened this Skype channel. I have one attendant from Italy, but really I will be happy if someone also from other challenges will register on our channel, and we can discuss also these synergies.
Yes.
So in next days we will work in these ideas, and then I guess next week we will have a meeting with this technical staff to understand what is technically possible in this hackathon period.
Excellent. Yes. So what you have to do is to sign up, and you will be kept. You will get in touch with these mentors, and there will be activities already this week. It's not too late to sign up. Yeah, and the hackathon will go on until the beginning of November. So there is still room to do a lot of work. With that, thank you so much. Yeah, Carol, you want to? Yes.
Yes, I forgot to tell one thing. Yes, this case is okay. We are calling this hackathon, but generally it's a combination of three different models. Yes, hackathon, ideathon, and datathon. Yes, and I don't know if Petr will agree or will be happy, but I have to say that on any information system, the software is less important. Yes, the data has much bigger importance, and if we will be able to collect the data as during this project, and it looks that we will have some data, and if we will consider that this is running 2 months period, I think that the amount of the data looks very good. So this will be good, and of course we need the idea how to make the business with the software. Yes, and this is also very important, because to develop nice solution and not make any business has also no sense.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you, Karol. So every contribution, any type, small or big, technical, or collecting data, particularly as Karol said, all of it are useful. So please join us. With that, goodbye for now. Have a lovely day, and hope to see you soon in the next webinar in the Inspire Hackathon webinar series.
It will be on Thursday, and it will be about very challenging technology whiteboard. Yes.
Yes, map whiteboard on Thursday, the 22nd, and on the 26th, you will learn about business models from SABIC Prague. So those are 2 webinars forthcoming now. Yes.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.